Hello there everybody, welcome back to another MapleStory video. In this video I'm going to be doing, well, as I'm sure you can see by the title, it's going to be sort of an updated Shadow Bite guide. I did make one quite some time ago when I was fairly new-ish to, playing the game again, and I noticed a lot of people talking about like Shadow Bite farming and how to set it up, so I compiled a little bit of the knowledge and sort of centralized it. Anyways, that being said, a lot has changed since 6th Job has come out. Also, I am the Biss Monkey. I have Hat Monkey. This is the best ring. If you have it, you're a goat. If you don't, you're a fucking stoat. Sorry, not sorry. What is Shadow Bite? Shadow Bite is this skill right here. It's a Nightwalker exclusive. Looks like this. It's a 5th job skill. You gotta level it up. You press the button. It attacks basically the whole map. Here, I'll even do a little demonstration for you all, because I know some people get upset, and they also get upset if the skill opacity is on or off, excuse me. Turn item pouch off so I don't take shit. But basically, Shadow Bite is this skill. It hits a massive amount of monsters in an area, and then it procs Shadow Bats, and they bounce. So, why is this a good skill? Well, I mean, do you need me to explain? It hits a shit ton of things, and it bounces. As you can see, it keeps killing mobs. It's just a lazy farming skill, and it is something that on some maps, like for this map, for example, I could probably bite farm this map fairly simply. I just kind of stand in the middle of the map and I just hold down Shadow Bite, and I clear basically the whole map, right? That's why Shadow Bite is something that people like and why people want to Shadow Bite farm. Now, Shadow Bite has a 15-second cooldown, as I'm sure you noticed if you take a look at the skill here. It has a 15-second cooldown. Now, this can be reduced in a couple of different ways. These ways being... we'll get into all these ways, but there's I'll just go through the summary of them. You have Hexa skill enhancement, which lowers the cooldown. You have cooldown reduction from hats. You have cooldown reduction from Legion. And you have cooldown reduction from things like Threads of Fate. And I will be going over each of these momentarily. So, the first big thing that is, I guess you should know. How do spawn mechanics in this game work? The wave spawn mechanics. So, monsters spawn approximately every 7.5 seconds. This can be influenced by a couple different factors, namely server lag. If the server is struggling, then the waves can be a bit delayed in spawning. But every 7.5 seconds, a wave will spawn. And I'm not factoring in anything outside of Reboot or Heroic servers, because obviously Frenzy Totem increased the spawn rate. We're not talking about Frenzy Totem. You wouldn't be doing this with Frenzy Totem anyways. You literally could not keep up with the spawn waves. I guess bite farming is realistically a Heroic or Reboot only thing. But spawns happen every 7.5 seconds. So what does this mean? This means you want, generally, to have your Shadow Bite cooldown be an increment of 7. Why 7 when the spawn wave is 7.5? Well, there's a couple of reasons, right? Again, like I said, the spawn thing can be delayed, like the spawn waves can be delayed due to server lag. And another big thing is server lag also can affect your own personal cooldowns. So while, say your Shadow Bite is 14-second cooldown, maybe the server lag hits your shit and your Shadow Bite is actually a 15-second cooldown. Now, it doesn't seem like that's a big deal, but the more your cooldowns get desynced, the more opportunity you have to miss spawn waves, right? And that's a net negative. And that's something we want to try and avoid. So, how do you get cooldown reduction? Well, I wouldn't say the main way, but one of the first ways you're probably going to end up getting cooldown reduction is from your hat's potential. So, right here, you can see I have a farming hat that has -3 cooldown. So, this would lower our base cooldown on Shadow Bite from 15 down to 12 seconds, right? Now, there are a couple different ways you can Shadow Bite farm, and the way that I prefer Shadow Bite farming is to just hold it down. And in order to hold it down, you need to line up the cooldown pretty much perfectly. So I can just continue to hold it down. You can see there that I was off cycle. Here, I'll try to line up the cycles so you can better see what I mean when I say hold down farm. So I'm going to hold it down because the wave just respawned. So I'm just holding the skill down, and you'll see it should line up pretty perfectly. Yep, the spawn wave insta spawns and insta gets hit by Shadow Bite. I'm just holding the button down. This is the lazy farming. This is what every Nightwalker aspires for in the early days. Maybe less so now with Soul Janus, and you can see there, I just was holding it down and my bite went off before the wave spawned. Again, that's the server lag and desync that I was talking about in action. So it's good that I was able to show that off. But if you don't care about holding the button down and you just want it to be up every like spawn wave, then obviously get as much cooldown reduction as you possibly can, up to like 7.5 seconds, because it's unrealistic to get more than that basically on reboot, because you'd be looking at B pots, which we just don't have access to. But if you are somebody who only wants to hold down bite farm, like this is the epitome of lazy farming, you gotta make sure the spawn wave spawns, obviously, so you want to clear the wave or wait for it to spawn. You can see it spawns, so now you hold it down. You always have to make sure to do that, otherwise it's always going to be desynced. But if you want to ultimately try to get to a position to where you can do this, that's kind of what this video is for. Otherwise, just stack as much cooldown as you can up to the maximum of like 7.5. Also, before any other people ask, cooldown reduction does not really benefit us at all in bosses. It just, the only thing it really affects is Greater Dark Servant, and we already have Greater Dark Servant up 100% of the time, basically, with high enough Hexa, so it's irrelevant. Just get a luck hat for bossing. That being said, when you're first starting out, 14-second bite or 13-second bite, depending on your own personal like latency to the server, is sort of the first goalpost if you want to do lazy bite farming where you just hold down the button. This means you will kill one wave, the next wave will spawn, and then right before the next wave spawns, your bite will come back up, so you hit all of the monsters, like you'll hit 15 monsters, but you won't be able to bounce and kill the stragglers, but the next wave will spawn, and the bats from the old wave will attack the new wave. So you'll mostly clear all of the wave, but you will be missing a lot more than if you had a 7.5 second or 7-second bite, which is the ultimate end goal, but it's much harder to get to. But the first breakpoint for lazy farming is either -2 or -1, depending on your preference and sort of server connection. You just have to kind of test the stuff and figure out what works best for you and what you want to kind of use. Now, the second source of cooldown reduction that I think is worth noting is the Hexa skill itself. So Hexa skills unlock at 260, 6 job, that's Hexa skills. You have a bunch of different skills. You have your mastery skills, you have your common skills, you have your boost nodes, you have your skill nodes, like, you have all these nodes. The node we're most interested in, though, is the boost node for Shadow Bite. And let me pop on over to this. So this shows you what Shadow Bite Hexa boost does. At level 1, you'll notice it reduces the cooldown from 15 seconds to 14 seconds. This is where you can get a big source of cooldown, down to 10-second cooldown at base. Very good, and it happens at level 25, but we'll go over the breakpoints in a moment. So, if you're somebody who wants to hold down Shadow Bite farm, our Shadow Bite starts at 15 seconds. Base out of 5th job with nothing else on it. So, in order to get it down to -7 or -7.5 or around that ballpark, we're going to need to get a lot of -CDR, basically, right? How do we achieve this? Well, you get 5 of it right here, right? If you get to level 25 Hexa Shadow Bite, that gets you a base 10-second cooldown. So then we need to get rid of another 3-second cooldown reduction or so, right? Or 2.5, depending on how you look at it. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well that's super easy. You just get a 2-second cooldown hat or a 3-second cooldown hat and you're bing bang boom, you're good. Well, not quite, right? And what I mean by this is, let's go back into MapleStory itself, but if you'll note on the cooldown reduction line on the hat, you'll see it says minus 1 second, or minus 5% for under 10 seconds, minimum cooldown of 5 seconds. So what does this mean? What this means is it reduces 5% of the total cooldown timer if the skill's cooldown is 10 seconds or under already. So it doesn't just give a flat 1 second at 10, it will only give 5%, which is less than 1, right? It's 0.5. So that minus 1 turns into actually minus 0.5. And for all intents and purposes, you can kind of just look at each additional second of cooldown as 0.5. It's not exact, but it's close enough. Because obviously every time you lower the cooldown, each additional percentage is worth slightly less. But my point is, basically what you want to shoot for is minus 9 seconds of cooldown reduction. Total. Because minus 9 seconds will get you to where I'm at right now, which is basically having your Shadow Bite up for every single spawn wave, and you can just hold it down. That is the pinnacle of bite farming, if this is what you want to get. And you want to hit minus 9. Minus 9 is the magic number. Some people swear by going minus 10, but minus 10, you would have to not hold the button down. Sometimes it desyncs for me, as you can see earlier, and my Shadow Bite goes off without the mob wave being up, because again, server lag can happen both ways. Server lag can delay the spawn wave, server lag can also delay my Shadow Bite. So I find minus 9 to be quite good. Some people swear by minus 10, but I think with minus 10 you would need to pay attention and not hold the button down, which kind of removes the purpose. Because if I was going to active farm, I would just use 3-ball Soul Janus and not do this at all. But that's a completely different topic. How do we get to minus 9? Well, if you take a look at this, just to refresh you guys, this takes us down from 15 base, because remember, the first level gets it to 14. It is a 15-second base. So we get our first minus 5 very easily, just from getting Hexa Bite to level 25. Now, this isn't the easiest thing to do in the world, for sure. This is a lot of fragment investment, but it's just something you personally have to figure out if you want to do. Do you want to invest in your farming capability to be able to lazy farm better? Or do you value other things more? But this is the easiest source of cooldown reduction, bar none. You get a flat 5 second for getting to level 25. Going to 30 only increases the other aspects, does nothing else for you, in the cooldown department at least. 25 is the max for the cooldown. So this takes us to minus 5, getting our Hexa to 25. Now you'll notice I have another minus 3 from my hat, so 5 plus 3, that takes us up to 8, right? So I'm missing one. Now, you have an option of going for minus 4 on the hat, which would be 2 prime lines that rolled high. And as you can see here, one of my cooldown reduction lines did not roll high, which is why I had to get my last point of cooldown from a different source. That different source is these wings. These are the Threads of Fate, Wings of Fate. You have to do the Wings of Fate, Threads of Fate questline, whatever it's called, and you have to finish it out completely in order to unlock the Wings of Fate. Then, in this UI here, you will have to get to 50 closeness with Azuna, Yorozu, and Tengu. At least 50 closeness with them to unlock their ability once you slot them in, which is Transparent Motives, which reduces the cooldown by 1 second for your skills. Again, with the minimum cooldown of 5 seconds. It says this is a flat 1 second, but it's not. It functions the exact same way as this, meaning if it's under 10 seconds, it is like 0.5 essentially. So that is how we get down to minus 9 total. Though the astute amongst you might realize that, hey, if every point under 10 seconds is only roughly 0.5, then we're still missing roughly 0.5, are we not? And to that I say, you're very smart. This is where the Legion block comes in handy. And the Legion block that we are specifically looking at is the Legion block from, if I can find it, was that it? Nope. Come on. I must have missed it. Where the fuck is it? Come on. Here, Mercedes. The Mercedes Legion block, when you slot it in, is essentially another line of cooldown. So you want minus 9 from your gear, and then Mercedes block. That will get you to roughly 7.7, 7.8 second cooldown on Shadow Bite, which is, in my experience, perfect for just holding down Bite and farming every wave. Your mileage may vary. And obviously you can do any combination of ways to get the reduced cooldown lines. Like you can go level 19 Shadow Bite Hexa boost, because that will be 11 second cooldown, and get like a -4 hat with Wings of Fate. There's a couple different combinations you can do, but ultimately, keep in mind, the easiest way to look at it is you need either the -2 breakpoint for the 14 second cooldown or 13 second cooldown Shadow Bite, and that way to farm. If you're farming lazy, again, I must stress this enough, this is only if you're just holding the button down. If you're not holding the button down and you're paying attention, just get as much cooldown as you want, because it doesn't really matter. Though if you're active farming, you probably don't need to be pressing Shadow Bite anyways, but that's a whole nother topic. Basically, if you're lazy farming though, you want either -2 as the first breakpoint or -9. -2 or -9. -2 or -9. And the -9 factors in to you having the Mercedes Legion block slotted in. If you have the 250 block, it's -6% skill cooldowns, so that would take you down from 7.7 to 7.8 down to 7.6 to 7.7, which can tighten it up if you feel like it's a bit off. But in my experience, I find it's fine as it is, so I haven't felt the need to level my Mercedes to 250. Hopefully, this has helped some of you guys. I mean, that's really all I try to do. I just try to post things that people will enjoy, or things that people need help with. So I guess that's it for me on this video. So like the video if you like it, subscribe, all that good stuff, and thanks for watching. As always, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Thank you to my YouTube members. It's Biscuits and Your Diz. Remix My Life. I'm Nufu. Love all of you guys very much, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye.